People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. 7 minutes after the hour, second day of March in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy along with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, watching the chat and the Service Legends Truth Talk text line at 515-809-0993. Ryan is producing. I want to just step away from presidential politics for a minute. I know this is the day after Super Tuesday and conversations are heavy today. But I just want to bring a little Jesus into this conversation because he's the most important guy in the room. It isn't Trump. It isn't me. It isn't you. And I've got a guy named Seth Hamilton who is from this area and has been working for years as a missionary. He's currently, and tell me if I get this wrong, you're in Managua?
No, I'm actually in East St. Louis, Illinois now.
You're where?
In East St. Louis, Illinois now. I was in Managua for the last 3.5 years. We were actually planning to go to North Africa, got sidetracked on some paperwork, but we're in inner city East St. Louis in the meantime while we're waiting to go out.
All right, East St. Louis.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that Ferguson?
It's right on the other side of the river and the same community, yes.
All right. Well, this is interesting. I had something different in my head. So you've brought your ministry back to the United States for a period of time then.
Yes, sir. We're doing.
Or God brought it back.
Absolutely. That's where we feel like the reason that we've been sidelined is to be able to serve in this area, especially given everything that's happened in the last couple of years.
So tell me what Seth prays for every day for his particular mission. And I understand there are overall prayers, but how can my audience get a handle on what you're doing there by what you're praying for?
Well, honestly, it's a matter of first and foremost a stronger relationship with God personally, to have a loving relationship with my family that represents that in the community here. And wherever we would happen to be, it was the same thing in Managua. It would be the same thing in Africa, because we want people to see in our relationship itself, as husband and wife and as parents, to model the church and God's love, and more than anything, just how can we just be led and obedient to Him. And how can we love others in His name in a means that really demonstrates and gives testimony to Jesus' teachings? How do we fulfill that in our daily lives? And how do we touch other people's lives so that they would have that desire so that the Holy Spirit would move in them?
So are you pastoring a church? Are you working out of a mission? Where do you call home? I don't mean home where you lay your head, but where do you call your mission?
I work at a community center here. I do discipleship through martial arts, and then I also teach languages. I try and prepare people to do missions work themselves. I like to get other people ready to fulfill the Great Commission. And speaking on which, I actually have a couple of my students here with me. Kiwan Terrell, and I have DeJuan Burton. Hello.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Well,
thank you.
they're a little bit shy, but they're they're here and they're happy to have the opportunity for sure.
So what do you see the need on the ground in East St. Louis for your ministry?
Well, honestly, it's just getting people involved. And we're really just trying to... The St. Louis itself is statistically the most violent city in the United States. We also have a lot of issues of education, in which like the school systems are lagging behind. So one of the things that we try and focus on here at the community center is after school scholastic reinforcement. Because a kid could be valedictorian and still end up in remedial classes just because the school system is a little bit behind. And this last semester, along with a lot of inner city schools across the United States, the school ended up going on strike because of a lack of funding.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids ended up missing classes for well over a month. And when kids are out of school, they're bored, they don't have anything to do, and a lot of times they get into trouble. And so those are our big focuses on top of just sharing the gospel, but just really trying to help improve the community. And again, just being the example. I feel like it's something that's really important in these times.
Yeah, we always want people to look at our actions and say, man, you're different. What's going on with you? And then you get a chance to, preach the gospel.
Absolutely, and say what it is that causes you to be different.
Yeah, but you, Seth, you are in, as you said, one of the highest crime-rated areas in the country. I don't know if you're the highest in the land, but you're certainly top 5 behind Detroit, Chicago, L.A., that area.
Well, actually, per capita, there was a statistic that came out that had St. Louis at the top. Because in terms of actual volume, if you were just to go by who has the highest number, yes, we would be in the top 5. But when it comes to percentage-wise and per capita, it does actually top the list. And St. Louis was made the top 20 in the world as of 2015.
Well, and it's interesting that we change the hearts, we change the lives, and that's what you're all doing on the street. You're out there trying to show people that following Jesus is the way, not following Black Lives Matter or the Panthers or the accuser or pornography or solicited sex, prostitution, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you're really in the trenches over there.
Well, yeah, that's what you want to do. And I mean, it's not like you see a lot of the things in the communities are stigmatized, but there's a lot of positive things that are happening as well. And that's the other thing that we want to do is highlight those, so that people understand that there are good movements from the outside. Because the other issue is that there's tension from both sides. Well,
let's highlight those in the few minutes we have left. Talk to me about some of those positive things going on.
Well, one of the big things that we're doing right now, we've got these kids that are with me here are getting ready to go off to West Africa into a majority Muslim country where we're going to be working. They'll be learning French, and they'll also be reaching out to people there through martial arts and entrepreneurial endeavors, in which we'll be doing exhibitions for MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We'll be organizing a tournament, and the national sport out there is lam wrestling, so it's even bigger than soccer, which is a big deal.
Arm wrestling?
No, it's lam wrestling. It's a form of kind of like Greco-Roman wrestling. So it gives us a good cultural linchpin to reach out to people who are with, and it draws large crowds, so it gives us an opportunity to really speak in front of a large audience there. And so our kids are making a difference, not just around here, but all around the world. I mean, this is the city that's produced a lot of great athletes and cultural figures. So we're taking some of that talent, and we're trying to look at how can we redirect it and use that to share the gospel. And that's just one of the big things that we're doing.
Seth Hamilton is my guest today. He is a missionary in the toughest place on earth, or at least one of them, and that's East St. Louis, Ferguson, Missouri, that area, trying to change hearts so Jesus can change lives. And as a missionary in the field, that's not always the easiest thing to do. Now, Seth, in the last couple minutes here, there's somebody listening to this radio station right now, which they want to do what you're doing. They want to be in the field. They want to be in the trenches. They want to be in the dirt. They want to get their hands dirty. They want to wrap their arms around the ankles of Jesus as he bleeds. Tell people how they can get involved with your ministry.
Well, just go ahead. You can either look us up at cacesl.org. You can also write us at to the Christian Activity Center in East St. Louis at 540 North 6th Street.
Hold on, 540 North 6th. Okay, go ahead.
East St. Louis, Illinois, and that's at 6 there, and then the zip code is 62201. And you can also make a phone call into 618-874-5615.
5615.
And they also have a Facebook page, Christian Activity Center.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that was Bob Monstret. He obviously is 2 steps ahead. All right. You tell your men there to keep the faith and to keep preaching the gospel, and everything else is insignificant. And Seth, we appreciate you checking in with us. Your Aunt Jill loves you dearly and constantly keeps me updated on what you're doing. And so you've got a wonderful woman praying for you there.
Yeah, I definitely love my Aunt Jill. She's a very sweet woman.
She is. She's a special creature, special child. All right, Seth, thank you very much for joining us. Seth Hamilton, we hear from Seth every couple months. He fills us in on what's going on in his ministry, and he's in the tough part of the town. Man, change hearts, change lives. All right, we're coming back to some of the social issues that we're talking about. Do you vote for a guy who doesn't match your social, what do I want to say, your core, abortion, gay marriage, things like that? We'll talk about it when we come back.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
21 minutes after 4 o'clock, 4:21 on the second day of March. In the Lord's year 2016, I want the phones to light up. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't know if you were listening to the program between 3:30 and 4, but Pastor Michael Damastis and I got into quite a little difficulty. I love the guy. I mean, it's nothing that is personal, but we just go about it from a different standpoint. And I honor his position on the social issues. I guess I've just been around politics and faith for so long. I want to get somewhere. I feel like we've all been standing in the mud for 50 years. 50 years. You know, Roe versus Wade is now 53 years old. No, 43 years old. And we're nowhere. And that's because we are intolerant. I have been intolerant of accepting anything less than 0 abortions. And that's because there are very talented people out there who say, why should a baby who's been conceived in rape or incest be killed? It's not their fault. I understand that. But I'm trying to save the other 99%. You know, there are am I right? 3,000 abortions a day? 3 times 3 is that right? 3,000 abortions a day?
I thought I heard that number put out there. Don't know for sure.
I think it is 3,000 abortions a day. So 3 times that's 100,000 abortions a month. What if we could just make that 1,000 abortions a month, and we could save those other 99,990 or 900? What if we could save those? Isn't that worth it to you? Don't you think when you stand before God, he's going to look at you and say, good job, Mac? And I know I wanted 0 tolerance, but there's sin on this earth. There's sin in this planet. There are people out there who conceiving children like they drink Diet Coke. They don't care. And if they're pregnant, it's just $400 at Planned Parenthood. Isn't that progress? Isn't that getting us somewhere? On the gay marriage issue? Seriously, you don't think we're done on that? Whoops, my phone's ringing. You don't think we're just dead in the water on that? I don't ever see anything happen in this country which is going to reverse the progress that the LGBT movement is doing. I mean, you know what the next thing is, right? Next thing is transgendered bathrooms. Now, who in heaven's name ever thought in 1960, 1970, when the gay movement began, that's when AIDS hit. I mean, AIDS was strong in 1980, but it was going through San Francisco and the dirty, I don't think I can say that word. Can I say that? I'm not going to say that word. The dirty gay people. And now they have this disease, and we have to stay away from them, and we'll all get it. And if you sit on the same toilet seat, you'll get it, and you'll kiss somebody, and you'll get it. You remember those times? It was outrageous. But the LGBT group hung in there. And in 1970, all they wanted was to be able to visit their lovers in the hospital like family does. That's all they wanted. And then, well, we'd like a little bit more. This is like Steve Martin in The Jerk. Remember when he's walking around, all I want is this hot dog, and that's all I want when I go. I want this chair and this hot dog, and that's all I want. That's all I want. And by the time he gets to the driveway, he's got half the furniture in the house and the Mercedes-Benz. That's what we've allowed the LGBT movement to do. My friend Steve Day says it this way. It's real easy. they'll make you care. They've made us care. They've made our children care. They've made churches care about marrying a man and a woman and a woman. My cradle denomination, my church, the Episcopal Church, I had to stop going to. I chose to not go to any longer because now they have gay bishops. The leadership is gay. I love gay people. I have gay people in my family. We don't talk politics. They don't talk it with me. I don't talk it with them. And we get along just fine. Do they know where I stand? Yes. Do I know where they stand? Yes. Do they love Jesus? Yeah. Do I love Jesus more? No. No. And if you think you love Jesus more than the person who tolerates gay couples in your church or in your community, you better go check your scriptures, cowboy. You better go figure out what Jesus is really, really, really about. When you got your arms wrapped around his ankles and the blood from the wounds in the side of his body are dripping down on you and he's taking his last breath, you tell me that you love Jesus more than I do because I'm not willing to throw the gays out with the bathwater. I don't want to make it a social issue anymore when it comes to me picking a president. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Because you know what? We get our butts kicked. We get our butts kicked, and we end up with Obamacare. And we're going to end up with another president for at least 4 years who's going to have three Supreme Court nominations. If you want to know where the power is in this country, it's not in the pulpit anymore. And it's because most churches choose to be mission churches rather than issue churches. We stopped being issue churches. We stopped preaching the gospel, the good news, and social issues from the pulpit. Not all churches. Michael DeMasta's church did not stop. He's fighting the good fight every single day. But it's not the easy road to go down that so many churches and pastors choose to go down. 515-244-0077. That's the number you can call to get on the air with us, or you can text us at the Service Legends Truth Talk text line, 515-809-0993. Let's go to the phones. I'm trying to see Ryan's Facebook page here. Who's on the air? That doesn't help me. Frank, you're live in Mac's World. What are you doing?
The verse.
Oh, that Frank.
That Frank.
You're supposed to warn me, Ryan, that it's that Frank. I thought you were employed this afternoon.
No longer.
Good, you're fired.
Steve Martin would say, and that's all I need.
Yep, that's true.
Okay, in the interest of disclosure, in the 1979-1980, my ex-wife worked at the records department at Aid Insurance. They're across from Vets Auditorium.
Yeah.
When the AIDS thing hit, they had to change their name to Allied Insurance because of the AIDS flap, the AIDS scare. Because they didn't want to be confused. It was, I guess that would be the beginning of political correctness. They didn't want any confusion with their name and the AIDS HIV virus.
Well, can you blame them?
Well, I suppose not. But, that was the beginning of what we know as now the political correct era. So, I'm old enough and I can date that to, that precise time that you're talking about, around 1980. My daughter was born in 1979, and so that was about the time that Aid Insurance was there, and every once in a while they had a water fountain outside, and someone had to come along and throw a box of laundry soap in the fountain, create a lot of suds and a lot of bubbles.
So, were you listening earlier when Damascus was on?
No, I did not catch that. I just got home from Ames, and I did not catch the Michael Damascus.
All right, you just sit there for just a second. Now, I want to go over to the Service Legends Truth Talk text line and go back probably an hour and share some of those texts, because here were the issues. And Bob, help me out. The issues were that we cannot vote for Trump because the only thing he's willing to do on Planned Parenthood is defund them. We can't vote for Trump because he goes back and forth on gay marriage and gay marriage licenses. We can't vote for Trump because he's not a true Christian. He's not a what did he say? He's not. How did Michael say it? I don't remember. He's not born again.
I'm not sure if he said
not
it.
A born again evangelist.
No, what Mike said, and I don't want to quote him because he's not here, but what I think he said was that the word evangelical and the name Christian just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Okay, well, here's the problem.
Well, hold on, Frank. I want to have Bob read some of the texts that we've been sitting on for about 20 minutes. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, even longer than that, but one of the texts came in, the pastor is wrong. There are a lot of every Sunday Christian voting for Trump. Now they are foolish, but it is happening. Christians are not exempt from making bad choices. A lot of Christians are showing that by supporting Trump. So I think he was kind of saying, and I think, Mac, haven't you kind of alluded that you don't know how a Christian could vote for certain people that don't agree with you know, biblical worldview? So I think that's kind of out of...
Yeah, I do believe that. I don't know how... Well, no, here's what I've said. Hold back up. No, I hope I didn't say that. When I heard you just say that, that rubs me wrong. What I don't agree with is when someone votes Democratic. Okay, because there's no God in the Democratic platform. In fact, last convention, they voted 3 times to take God out, and somebody was smart enough to vote again and keep him in. But virtually, there's no God in government schools. There's no God in government. It is the Democrats that continually vote for funding of Planned Parenthood. Although, I will tell you, Michael had a wonderful point, and that was the Republicans have just ran right behind the Democrats for the last, we've controlled the House for 2 years and the Senate for 4 years. And we still haven't got anything done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what other text do you have?
This was one that said, Mac, you sound like a Pharisee today. Quit putting so many prerequisites on what you think a person has to do to be a Christian in your eyes. I mean, and this is just, I'm just reading
what was I saying?
I'm just reading how they took what you said, whatever you said.
I was just trying to think of what I said. Okay, that's good though. I like comments.
But this person also says, I love Mac and everyone on the show, so that's good. Didn't say Frank specifically, but he said everyone.
Right. Well, I
thought you'd like that,
trying
Frank.
to think what did they say that I said?
Well, it doesn't say specifically. It just says you sound like a Pharisee.
Pharisaical, yeah.
Putting so many prerequisites on what you think a person has to do to be a Christian.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, you know what I was talking about? I was talking about me. I was talking about me back in the day when somebody would ask me if I was a Christian, and I would say, heck no, those people are weird. I'm Episcopalian. Well, are you born again? Heavens no. I don't know how that... I remember saying that on the radio. I don't know how that happens. How do you get born again? And, of course, now I would listen to myself and say, Self, you're wrong. That's very possible. And it happened to you.
Well, so I assume that because Cruz isn't doing so well, they're going to take the ball and go home and let Hillary in the White House to name the 3 to 4 Supreme Court nominees. Is that basically the jest?
Well, the jest is that they're not going to vote. They're not going to vote for Donald Trump because he's not... he supports things socially that they can't support.
Okay, there was a big deal that...
Hold on, Frank. We're going up against a break, so let me take a break. And for some odd reason, I'll keep you on hold, and we'll come back with Frank and Bob and me, and most importantly, you.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer. I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
And I'm the service manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
All right, 438. Your comments are welcome at Service Legends Truth Text Talk Line at 515-809-0993. Frank's on the phone. Ryan let him in. I mean, just you leave the barn door open, you get any feral cat wandering in. Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat. Read that one text that I just love. I just love this text.
The one, I'm in turmoil?
Yeah.
I'm in turmoil over this election personally. I agree with the pastor we may be getting the candidate we deserve. I am disgusted and angry by the fact that I may be forced to vote for a racist bigot just to keep Hillary out of office. They both support Planned Parenthood, so what do you do? It is really going against my values and morals. I'm in deep prayer over this.
What's wrong with me that I want to look past gay marriage and abortion when electing a president? Does that make me a bad Christian? I don't know. I don't know. I'll listen to you if you think it does. I'll be glad to listen to you. It's your voice I want to hear. 240-0077. I just think that the negatives with the Democratic Party for another 4 or 8 years is devastating to my grandchildren. Devastating to my grandchildren. I don't care for me. Once they got Obamacare in, my days are numbered. The end of life, it's gone. Insurance protection, gone. Forget about having the best healthcare system in the world. It's gone. The insurance companies control the care that I'll get. Now you've got states like Iowa who are going to have this end-of-life bill where you can just decide that God can't heal, God can't save, God can't show mercy and bring a person back from what would medically be the end. I want to look beyond that. I want to look at preserving Social Security. I want to look at how our government schools are destroying our children. I want to look to see where money is going to support criminals and crooks who choose to be on the welfare system because they're too darn lazy to do anything else.
Hey, Mac.
Yeah.
Let me remind your listeners, and if you forgot, what was one of the very first questions that was asked in the very first Republican debate? You guys remember that?
No, tell me.
Well, one of the very first questions that was asked, may have been the first, would you please raise your hand if you plan on supporting the Republican nominee?
Yeah, right. I remember that.
You remember however many people were on stage, the main stage?
Like 17.
Well, no, they were broken up into two groups. But the main stage, I think, had 11 or 12 candidates on the stage. And everyone except Trump raised his hand. And there was great consternation because, oh no, Donald Trump may run third party. We heard this up in Ames when we were doing a live broadcast up in Ames, and everybody thought the big story was John McCain. He couldn't vote for John McCain because John McCain got captured. And then the issue about he had never asked forgiveness. Well, the other thing that was mentioned in that thing up in Ames, the Family Leadership Forum, or whatever it was, Family Leader, was that he wouldn't commit not to run third party. So in the debate, he was asked. Everybody raised their hand. Trump. So the pressure was put on Trump. Are you going to fall in line? Are you going to support the nominee? Finally, Trump, with negotiations, signs of contract that he's going to support the nominee. So the rest of these guys are now going to bail on their promise, and the people who supported these individual candidates like Cruz and Rubio are now going to bail on the promise. Their candidate, Michael DeMastis, candidate, Ted Cruz, raised his hand and said, I will support the nominee of this party. So doesn't that kind of lock the supporters of Ted Cruz in to vote? Now, I know you don't have to vote, but your guy took the promise. They pressured Donald Trump to take the promise. Trump took the promise. So we need to support the candidate, whomever it is. Like I done last time. I wanted Newt Gingrich, but I went and pulled the handle, kerching, for Mitt Romney. I had to hold my nose doing it, but I done it.
So the question then becomes for you, the listener, what are you going to do if Trump's the nominee? Now, I haven't gone back on the fact that I dumped Trump before the caucuses. I caucused for Marco Rubio. That would be my choice as president, but I'm not going to get my choice. I don't know what God's plan is, but it certainly isn't going to be Marco Rubio unless some miracle happens. Rubio is sitting at 110 delegates. Cruz has twice that, and Donald Trump 3 times that. Now, I know it's early, but it's not that early.
And did they adjust the delegate count from this morning? Because supposedly some of those counts, if Rubio didn't reach 20% in several states, his delegate numbers were likely to drop, and Trump's might have went up as high as 340. Has anybody seen an official delegate count?
That was the official. That was the official delegate count from Politico at 3:00 this afternoon.
Which had Trump at what?
319.
319. Well, as I say, this morning they were talking that when all the numbers came in, they may have to readjust those projected delegate counts if Rubio didn't reach 20% in about 3 or 4 of those states.
244-0077. That's the number. You weren't a Trump fan. You were a Cruz fan. You were a Ben Carson fan. By the way, if you haven't heard, Ben Carson's out. He quit the race today, or he suspended, or he's not going to do anymore. Kasich is wondering. He wants to see how he does in Ohio. Well, that's not until the what, 15th of March? I'm not calling the race by any means, but I got to think right now. I got to think ahead. I can't just wait. I got to get some brains involved here. My brains, not yours, mine. Maybe your brains are engaged. Mine's not. My brain disengaged from the presidential deal when I dumped Trump, and I had to figure out somebody else. And quite frankly, I was inspired by a nudge, which I like to call the Holy Spirit, to go for Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio came in second or third. And nobody gave him a chance to come in third. He came in Iowa in third. He won 1 state yesterday. 1. Minnesota. What if Trump is the nominee? Will you support him? Let's go to the phones. Dan Fry on line 271. Dan, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Mac?
Good. Did you hear I gave your hair studio a plug yesterday?
I didn't. I didn't get a chance to listen yesterday.
Yeah, I had an African American woman on the radio saying that one of the things that lacks in this community is a place for an African American to get their hair done the way an African American needs to get it done. And I said, go to Bombshell Betty's, and they will take care of you. So anyway,
and we certainly will. I appreciate that.
No problem. So what's your thinking on this? By the way, who'd you caucus for?
You know what? I didn't caucus this year.
Okay.
And the reason was not political at all. My kid had hockey, and I decided that I was still so far up in the air that I wasn't going to make a knee-jerk decision, and so I went ahead and took him to hockey practice to the caucus.
Okay, all right.
That being said, after the caucus, I was with you. Marco Rubio would have been my guy. I was a big Ben Carson guy. I like Ben Carson a lot, but it was clear early on he wasn't going to make it. And so this is a hard place to be because Trump wasn't on my list and was never on my list. And I'm with you, though. I'm going to pull the lever for Trump, even though last time I refused for Mitt Romney to pull the lever.
Oh, I know. I gave you holy heck for that.
Yeah, and I'm actually amused by a lot of the people that are saying the same thing I said last year. I will not do this. I will not do this. And it's the same people that gave me crap for taking the same kind of stand with Mitt Romney. So I've seen a lot of hypocrisy that way. I'm happy to see that's not the case with you, but with a lot of people, they give me a lot of crap for taking a moral stand, saying I can't vote for Mitt Romney, and now they're I can't do it for Trump, and I'm like, weird. Now you know how it feels. So I mean, nobody likes Trump. I don't understand how he's winning, frankly, but he is.
Hi, Dan. This is Bob. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Bob. How you doing?
Good. I had a question for you. I know you were saying that you would probably vote for Trump, and I was wondering is it because people can change, even though they, in people's opinion, flip-flop? You know what the other side is going to do. You know what the other side stands for. But Trump we don't really know. So is it kind of like you're going to take a chance on that?
Well, I think we have to. I'm a big believer in people changing. I mean, we're Christians. We were certainly changed, so I'm going to give the man an opportunity to change. He's worth $10 billion. Don't get there because you're stupid.
Yeah. All right, Dan and Frank and Rush, you guys hold on. We're up against a hard break. We'll be back in 2 minutes and bring you back into the conversation here live in Mac's World.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
10 minutes for the top of the hour, second day of March. I've got Dan Fry on one line and Frank the Verse Thomas on the other line. You're both on right now, so feel free to speak.
Well, I wanted to mention, I kind of interested to hear Dan was for Ben Carson. I supported him also, but I think the issue with Dr. Carson is he was showing really well in the polls, even after Trump announced. But the thing that kind of torqued me off a little bit as a Christian, I don't want anybody putting their thumb on the scale on anyone's behalf, establishment, libertarian, Christian conservative. And I feel like the push to get behind Ted Cruz kind of muscled Ben Carson out of the race, so to speak. And I think a lot, because early on projections were showing that Carson was leading in a lot of these states. And I just kind of think that Ben Carson got the short end of the stick, and I think he would be positioned a much better candidate to go against Trump right now because of his demeanor. He's just such a calm, complete opposite of Donald Trump.
All right, so you got a pen, Mac?
Yeah.
You need to write down this day and time because I'm going to agree with Frank.
Oh, wow. 4:51:22 on the 2nd of, wow. Okay, agreed with Frank.
I think the Cruz campaign bullied Trump supporters, or not Trump supporters, sorry, Carson supporters into voting for them. I felt a lot of pressure as an evangelical Christian to vote for Ted Cruz for reasons I didn't quite understand. I never liked the guy. I've never had a good feeling about him, and maybe I could, if he becomes the nominee, I could probably vote for him too. But I really, he's not my first pick or my 10. I actually like Jeb Bush in front of that guy. So, I agree with Frank. I felt bullied. I felt Carson got bullied. I was not a fan of Cruz and his tactics at all.
All right, let's turn this into a three-way conversation. Pastor Michael Damastis is on the phone. He had to get back to his church for services tonight. Pastor, what are you thinking? Hopefully you're not going to tell me I misquoted you because I didn't mean to.
No, you didn't. I just want to address what Frank the Verse just said and let him know how wrong he is. Because he was trying to blame Ben Carson's horrible campaigning on Ted Cruz. Come on, man. Ben Carson made terrible choices in his campaign staff, made critical errors in where and when he should be campaigning in early states, and he messed it. He missed it. He blew it up, and nobody's responsible for Ben Carson's loss except Ben Carson and the way his campaign was directed. So don't put that towards Ted Cruz and say it's his fault. You're totally 100% inaccurate and wrong on that.
Yeah, and I have to agree with Michael. Ben Carson hired a PR person who was in charge of promoting his book to be his campaign manager. That would be like me hiring Frank for etiquette classes. Okay,
but that wasn't what I was talking about. I'm talking about the Christian conservatives trying to get together and coalesce behind Cruz and basically trying to influence their voters or their congregations from the pulpit to vote a certain way, muscled Carson out of the race, in essence.
No,
I agree with I agree with Frank because you got two guys
here in my own church. Because most of the people in my church were torn between, do I vote for Cruz or do I vote for Carson? And I told people, vote biblically. I never said vote Cruz. I said vote biblically. And people in my church went both ways. They went either Cruz or they went Carson, but that was mainly the choice between the people in my own church. I know that's anecdotal evidence, but I could tell you, I heard that and saw that over and over. The problem is, Cruz just had a better campaign, and you can't say that it's evangelicals that were like they're blind robots and they made some decision because they were being muscled into this. That's a narrative that's completely false and not true. And so I want to kind of nip that one in the bud. That did not happen. People were not told to vote for Cruz. People were told to vote for biblical values. And I know every pastor I know that was pushing at the evangelical vote to be present, that's what they were saying. And they weren't pushing a particular candidate.
Well, I'll agree with you that Ben Carson's campaign was lacking. And that's a lot of his own fault and to blame. But again, I felt personally pressure from other evangelical pastors, not necessarily yourself, but others to vote for Ted Cruz for no apparent reason. And I was part of many threads on the interwebs that bashed Ben Carson for his influence on Christianity and held Ted Cruz up. I don't know either one of their theological standings. I'm sure I probably disagree with both of them on very important points. But I still agree with Frank. I felt bullied. I felt like that's the way it went. Wrong, right, or otherwise, that's the feeling we got out of it, and we're not the only ones. So, I mean, there's some validity somewhere to it. Even if that's not the way you led your church, I do think you have to go, okay, there's enough people here that feel this way. Maybe there's some validity there. Maybe there's a few members. I mean, heck, Cruz fired a guy over this. So, I mean, obviously there's some culpability there.
Well, Rick Tyler made some really poor choices. The campaign made poor choices. I'm not saying that the campaign was perfect. I mean, I don't say that Ted Cruz's campaign has been, just pure and all that kind of stuff. Ted Cruz is not the purest, best candidate, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to promote that at all. But I am saying when it comes down to the brass tacks in campaigns, Ben Carson just got his tail trumped big time. No pun intended.
No pun intended. I would agree that Ted Cruz has a great campaign going, and he came kind of out of nowhere from behind. He caught up. He overtook Ben Cruz. Ben Carson. He almost got Trump. And in Iowa, he did. So it's I would agree with you there. But again, if I have to pull the lever for either one of those guys, I will. I'm not happy with either choice.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to wish you all adieu. This is a first. I sure appreciate you all on the line. I think the conversation was better on the 3 phone lines than they probably were in studio, and I thank you very much for being here. It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm just talking about it. I'm right here. I'm right now. Things could completely change. We've got 4 more major elections or primaries before we really are going to know what's going on. Maybe Cruz will come out of this second place slump and devour Donald Trump. Maybe Rubio will. But I want us to start thinking. I want us to start praying, because I'm just going to be sideways as a screen door on a submarine if all my Christian friends say, I can't vote for Trump. I can't vote for Trump. I just can't vote for Trump. Well, when you don't vote for Trump, or you don't vote for the Republican nominee, you vote for the Democratic nominee. 1 vote here, 1 vote there. 1 vote here, 1 vote there. 1 vote here, no vote there. 1 vote here, no vote there. The bad guys win. We've got to get pride and judgment out of this. We'll talk about it. We'll see you tomorrow, all right? Until I do see you or talk to you, remember, please, Jesus is the most important thing. Think about somebody that you've just carried a grudge for, a resentment. It just drives you crazy. Even thinking about them burns you up. Tonight, would you surrender that to Christ, please? Because as you forgive, you will be forgiven. I'll see you at church.